And if I'm given the chance again, I'd do it again. With my bare dot hands this time. I regret nothing. Her body froze cold, rushing up her spine. There was pure hatred in his dot voice, disgust so sharp it didn't even sound human anymore. For the first time since she had met him, she realized she didn't know dot this man. There were pieces of him hidden in shadows she'd never stepped into. Jungkook. She doesn't know why she called his name. His eyes flicked toward her at the sound of his name, like he was really looking at her now. He closed his eyes and gulped. When he opened them again, they were blank, emptied of rage, emptied of fire. I'm sorry, he said softly, and the sudden gentleness in his tone made her shiver more than the fury had. Was that even possible? For someone to burn with pure hatred 1 second, then sound like silk the next? To control their emotions so completely, I didn't mean to. His jaw flexed again as he looked away, staring at nothing. I didn't mean to give you the details. He cut himself off with a sigh, running his tongue over his teeth like he was weighing his words. You should stay away from it. Petal double quotes. Her chest squeezed at the pet name, at the way his voice wrapped around it. You need to stay away from all of this. All of this politics. You wouldn't find anything good here. Not a single thing worth putting your life in danger for. This. It's messier than you think. More rotten than you can imagine. I don't want you tangled in it. I won't let you be. He must have seen the question in her eyes. Stay away from my brother, from him specifically. The room was so quiet she could hear her pulse in her ears. And though she wanted to demand more, all she could do was stare, because somewhere between his hatred, his apology, and his warning, she was more lost than ever. And from you? The words tumble out before she could rein them. He stared at her memorizing every line of her face, the curve of her mouth, the stubborn fire in her eyes. You want the truth? He asked quietly. She nodded, breath shallow. I would have said yes before. His eyes didn't move from hers. If you'd asked me that months ago, I'd have told you to stay away from me too. But now? He shook his head, almost like he hated himself for what he was about to admit. His lips pressed together before he forced the words out. Now I can't. I want to be selfish. I can't tell you to stay away from me. I should. But I can't, because I don't want to let you go. You're the only person I can't let go. I've lost people who dared to me. I have pushed people, cut them off. But you stay, and even if I can't let you go. Her throat worked dry. Even if it puts my life in danger. The sharp breath he drew in was so heavy it almost sounded like a growl. I wouldn't let anyone put you in danger. Listen to me, if it comes to that. If danger touches you, it won't be your blood spilled. I would burn them down to ashes. I'm not asking you to gamble your life for me, Petal. I'm telling you I won't allow anyone to take it from you. Her chest did something she almost reached for him, but her hands curled against her lap instead. Because his words were protective, but they scared her. They scared her because the temptation of giving in, of letting herself be pulled into the gravity of his vow was so much stronger than the fear of staying away from him. Because there was something in her that she couldn't silence, that stubborn little pull inside her chest. The one that always whispered his name even when she told herself to stay away. At first 70% of her wanted answers, she was a journalist. After all, that was her work. This club, this place, it reeked of something dark, something rotten hidden behind its music and flashing lights. She knew Jungkook had answers hidden somewhere inside him, but he never shared them. He had this way of speaking telling her everything and nothing at the same time. His words would circle around her, draw her in, make her feel like he was opening doors for her, when in truth, he was only leading her into more locked rooms. And yet she kept going back. Once a week turned into twice. Twice into random days without her, even realizing how easily she had slipped into his orbit. Every time she saw him, her reasons blurred. Was she there for the story, or for him? At some point, she stopped asking herself. In that amount of visitage, she did gather a lot of things. She didn't tell her boss, But an instinct was right, her boss gave her assignment. And he thought it would some small undergoing illegal business. Turns out the things aren't simple as she thinks they are. There are a lot to unpack. That aside, when Hana got to know her reason of disappearances, the disappointment in her eyes was obvious. Hana wasn't angry because of Jungkook himself, but because In hadn't told her. Because she had kept Dot's secret and she felt guilty about it. It's okay. Just don't trust him too quickly, In. We don't know him, and he acts like he's hiding more than he shows. Hana said that night. And she was right. Jungkook was closed off. He was a locked safe with no combination. A storm that showed flashes of lightning but never revealed its center. And still, her heart had already made its choice. It trusted him, without logic, without proof, without reason. He was dangerous, yes. She wasn't naive enough to deny that. But danger wasn't the only thing that defined him, and there was a thread pulling her closer no matter how hard she tried to resist. Jungkook. POV: window create a soft noise as he pushed it open and slipped inside, careful not to let his boots make a sound against the wooden floor. He straightened, letting his eyes adjust to the dim. The apartment was silent. He moved through the place, letting his gaze trail over picture frames, shelves, books she probably left lying around. He has stayed outside of this apartment but never dared to step inside. The whole place smelled like her, soft, fresh, warm, and that alone was enough to make something restless inside him calm down. The apartment was silent. He moved through the place, letting his gaze trail over picture frames, shelves, books she probably left lying around. He has stayed outside of this apartment but never dared to step inside. The whole place smelled like her, soft, fresh, warm, and that alone was enough to make something restless inside him calm down. And then he saw her. She was leaning on the kitchen counter, almost half of her body wearing nothing but a shirt that fell just past her thighs. Her hair was damp, she must have just showered. The glow from her laptop lit her face, and she was chewing absently on chips, lost in her work. He stopped breathing for a moment. A week. He hadn't seen her for a week. She hadn't come to me like she used to. Every night without her was like being locked in a cage. Pacing, waiting, craving. God, she looked like a dose of something injected straight into his veins. His addiction. He walked closer, slower than he needed to, savoring every step. She typed, her eyes fixed on the screen, so deep into whatever words she was piecing together that she didn't hear him at all. His gaze flicked over her laptop for a second. He caught glimpses of words like illegal networks and evidence, but he didn't care. He stopped just behind her, close enough to inhale the scent of her damp hair, her soap, her skin. He wanted to see how long it would take her to notice. But he couldn't wait until his fingers brushed lightly through her hair, just a small trace. She froze instantly, completely stiff, and the crunching stopped. Petal, he whispered against the silence. She jumped, spinning around so fast she almost knocked the laptop off the counter. She slammed it shut, eyes wide. What the hell, Jungkook? Her voice was startled, but seeing her with that fire in her eyes made him smile. His lips pulled into a grin before he could stop it. I'm ecstatic to meet you too, he said lightly, tilting my head as he studied her. Her hands were clutching the edge of the counter. What is wrong with you? Nothing bad enough to send me to a mental asylum. Don't worry. Her glare sharpened, anger mixing with the leftover shock. How did you even come here? How what? He raised a brow. Bedroom window. You should probably keep it closed at night. You know, anyone could just walk right in. I was only here to inform you double quotes her lips parted, disbelief written across her face. You broke into my house, she said flatly, like she couldn't quite believe it herself. Do you even realize how creepy this is? Who does this? Who just crawls in through windows in the middle of the night like some stalker? He supplied calmly, amused at how her voice was climbing higher. Creep. Maniac? Yes, all of those. Do you enjoy giving me heart attacks? Because congratulations, you've succeeded the double quote slowly, bracing his hands against the counter on. either side of her. Close enough to catch the panic in her eyes, she dot sharp rise and fall of her chest. His voice brushing like smoke over her skin. Take a deep breath. Your heartbeat's going wild, pedal dot double quotes, dot dot dot, was she actually did it. Even though she was glaring at dot him like she wanted to murder him, she closed her eyes and pulled in a dot long breath. He watched her shoulders move, watched the way her lips parted when she exhaled. Slower this time. When she opened her eyes again, there was a scowl right between brows. Better? He asked softly. Yes, she bit out, crossing her arms. But that doesn't mean I'm going to let you go around breaking into my home dot double quotes dot dot. Fair enough. I'll work on my door manners next time. Her scowl deepened. But, he went on, ignoring her glare, why are you so busy these days, Didn't even come to see me once? Didn't you say it's dangerous for me to keep coming there? Well, I certainly did, he admitted with a shrug. But when do you ever listen to me, Petal? I thought you'd be stubborn enough to keep coming back anyway. Her eyes narrowed. So you're blaming me for actually listening to you, for once. Maybe. And then he let the truth slip out. I missed you. That made her look at him properly. The scowl between her brows faded. For a second, she pulled the scowl back into place. And is that supposed to be a reason? Sneaking into my apartment in the middle of the night? Double quotes. Yes. The word came out simple. Missing you is reason enough. She swallowed, her throat moving, her hands gripping her arms tighter as if holding herself together. Jungkook, she whispered, half warning, half unsure. Say you missed me too. Her lips pressed into a thin line, her eyes flashing as if she could burn him down with one look. No, but her eyes, those damn eyes, betrayed her, softer at the corners, hesitant like they hadn't caught up with her mouth. I need to make you realize every single time what you're feeling. Her brows pulled together. And how do you even know what I'm feeling? Because you're like an open book to me, Petal. And I read you better than you think. She rolled her eyes so hard he almost laughed. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. He stepped closer, testing her space. For example, if I asked you right now to let me stay the night here, you'd actually let me double quotes. Her head snapped up, and she turned to face me fully, her front almost brushing against mine. How delusional are you? He leaned down just a little, close enough to catch the sharp intake of her breath. Won't you, Petal? And just like he imagined, her brain froze. He could see it in the way, her lips parted, in the flicker of panic in her eyes. No. I'm just kidding. A beat passed before he added, but not really. I'd like to stay. Only if you allow me. Double quotes. Her jaw clenched. Have you ever taken permission from me. Before stalking or breaking into my house? Why would you need it now? He hummed low, pretending to think about it. Fair point. Then he let her gaze fall to her lips before meeting her eyes again. Still, I don't see you complaining either. I am complaining, she hissed, though her voice lacked its usual sharpness. He raised a brow. Are you? Because you're still standing here so close, I can hear your heartbeat more than your words. Her throat bobbed, and she tried to push him back with words she didn't fully believe. That's because you're not moving. You are not either? He softened his smile then, letting the teasing melt. I didn't come here to scare you, Petal. I just wanted to see you. That's it. One look and I can breathe again. His palms braced against the counter beside her hips. Close enough now to catch the faintest whiff of her, that clean just showered scent that made his head spin.
His nose brushed against her hair,
then traced lightly along her cheek. His lips lingered close to her lips. And he swore he couldn't tell if it was her heart pounding or this girl. She didn't even have to do anything, just be. And he was unraveling. She made him crazy in the kind of way he never wanted to recover from. But right when he thought he had her, she turned away, her back shielding her face. Now, if you're done looking at me, you can go. Or just go sit there. Double quotes. He blinked, then grinned. So you're inviting me to sit, Petal. Like you invited yourself in, you can just as well sit too. He chuckled under his breath. And what if I don't want to sit? What if I just want to stand here and keep watching you? Finally made her spin around, her glare sharp. Then I'll go double quotes. Why do you get offended so easily? HM, is it some kind of special treatment just for me? She ignored him, stubborn as ever, and snatched up her laptop. Then grabbed the cup of coffee sitting next to it, took a sip, and immediately made a face, bitter, disappointed. Probably cold by now. She put it down with a little thud, not sparing him a glance. And then she walked off, heading to the sofa. She sank into the cushions, her laptop balanced on her knees. He just stood there for a moment, smiling like a fool. Every piece of her made him weak. The scowl, the sharp tongue, the way she pretended she didn't want him there when he knew I knew. She'd have kicked him out long ago if she really didn't. In POV colon, her fingers worked on the keyboard, words blurred into each other. A half-truth here, a neatly stitched cover-up there. She had to get the details right, she always did. She pressed her lips together, mind narrowing in on the article draft. The sudden sound of his voice broke through the silence. Here, she jumped, her body jerking back from the laptop for a while. She forgot he was here and he was standing right next to the sofa, holding out a steaming mug. It slipped out before she could filter it. Made a new one. Since yours got cold, double quotes, she stared at him. Was he for real? But she didn't had another bone in her for asking more question, though his presence alone make her question everything, so she took it from his hands. The heat seeped instantly into her palms. He finally moved, lowering himself onto the sofa beside her.
He had a cup of his own.
His shoulder brushed hers when he leaned back, and she was very aware of how small the sofa suddenly felt. She curled her fingers tighter around the mug, trying to focus on its heat instead of the way his presence unsettled her chest. What are you working on? He asked. There was a little curiosity in his voice. Her screen glared up at her, still showing the document she's been editing. She quickly pressed a few keys, flipping to a new tab, something unimportant. Nothing that should concern you? I don't believe that, he murmured. If it wasn't important, you wouldn't have closed it so fast. Or maybe I just don't like nosy people, double quotes, taking a slow sip of his coffee. She could feel his eyes on her even as she tried to look away, back to her laptop. The silence was too heavy, too hot. She could feel it press against her skin. Finally, she huffed out a breath, the scowl returning to her face as a shield. Stop staring, he said simply, almost like it wasn't even his fault. You're right here. What else am I supposed to look at? Literally anything else. Why would I? When you're the only thing worth looking at in this room. She hated how easy her heart reacted before her brain could shut it down. She forced herself to scoff, to shake her head. Do you have anything better to say except flirting? Idiot. His lips curved slowly. If that's what you name my love for you, double quotes, her gaze snapped to him instantly. The word love, and suddenly her throat felt too tight. His smirk stayed at its place, but his eyes, they were the worst of it. Because in them she didn't see lies, didn't see any mind games. Only sincerity, the kind of sincerity she wasn't ready to face. She needed to stop looking. She had to stop looking at his eyes, because things she didn't want to believe about him, about herself, were wide open in front of her. Do you even know what love is? He leaned in then, close enough that she caught the warmth of his breath mixing with the scent of coffee between them. Do you have any doubts? Hurt stuttered. I do. A lot of them. And you'll get tired clearing all of them. Try me. Her throat went dry. I have the whole night. Hell, I have my whole life, if that's what it takes to make you believe in me. So ask whatever doubts you have. Pedal double quotes. Her fingers tightened around the warm coffee cup in her lap. She should have looked away. Put space between them, but she couldn't. She drew in a shaky breath. Fine. How can I trust a man who hides everything? His eyes stayed fixed on her face. You think I hide from you? Petal, I've shown you more than I've ever shown anyone. The part of me. No one in this world knows. Hell, no one knows I even exist. Her lips parted. Why? He tilted his head, waiting like he knew there was more she wanted to ask. And she gave it to him. Why doesn't the world know about you? Why is there nothing about you? Why is the golden boy Jungkook everywhere and not you? He sighed like he knew that question was coming. He leaned back and gazed at nothing in particular. When we were born, he began, his tone detached like he was reciting someone else's history. We were hidden, both of us. My father had enemies, many of them, and keeping us invisible was safer. At least at first. Father wanted sons who'd be mirrors of him. Symbols of power, ambition, control. He got one, Jungkook. From the start he walked in father's footsteps. Like it was destiny. Me? I stayed with my mom. I liked the things she liked. I'd rather sit with her in the kitchen. Watch her sew, watch her make tea. I'd sit at her feet while she read. Dad called it girly, weak. He used to grab me by the arm, drag me out, force me to sit at his side, while he talked politics with men I didn't understand. And still, every chance I got, I chose my mom. And he hated me for it. I impressed her hand against her thigh. Jungkook went abroad when he was 7, left me here. Alone with him. That's when it got worse. Father's temper, his punishments. The more time I spent with him, the more he despised me for not being what he wanted. He'd say things like, I should have strangled you in the cradle. You're nothing. Sometimes he'd make me kneel for hours, until my knees bled, just because I'd refused to sit beside him at dinner. Sometimes. Jungkook paused, swallowing, his eyes going distant. Sometimes he'd lock me in the cellar for days. Said it'd toughen me up. Said, a weak son was worse than no son. Y chest tightened so badly it hurt to breathe. My mother stood up for me every time. Maybe that's why he hated me more. Because his wife wouldn't break me the way he wanted. She'd sneak food down to me when I was locked away. She'd tell me to hold on. I think the only reason I lasted as long as I did was because of her. There was a sadness in his voice, but he wiped that emotion fast. When Jungkook came back at 17, father finally had his masterpiece. Top student, perfect image, brilliant mind. The sun he paraded around, while I stayed in the shadows. I tried to be good, to study, to prove I wasn't worthless. The first time I brought him a test paper I worked hard for, he ripped it in half in front of me. Said even my handwriting made him sick. Told me I should stop pretending. I'd never be more than the dirt under Jungkook's shoes. With term. That was the last time I tried. After that, I stopped giving him what he wanted. If I was going to be a disgrace, then fine. I'd be one on my own terms. I stayed invisible. I stopped asking for his approval, stopped letting myself hope. His gaze finally returned to her, hollow. There was no Jungkook in the public eye because there wasn't supposed to be. I was a shadow, a ghost. Nothing but the reminder of a mistake my father never forgave himself for creating. He told me once when he was drunk that the only reason he didn't drown me as a baby was because mother begged him not to. Said if it wasn't for her, I'd have been buried nameless. Faceless before I ever learned to speak cold all over, goosebumps prickling her arms. I never wanted the public. Never wanted the spotlight or the name, not like Jungkook. He can have it. He can stand in front of the cameras with our father's smile and his perfect words. Let him be the air, the shining sun. I'm fine being the shadow, because the truth is, Petal, no one knowing I exist. That's exactly how it was always meant to be. I was supposed to die a long time ago. Every day after that has just been borrowed. Her mind was spinning. She thought she'd prepared herself. She'd know there was darkness, a mess of politics and blood, a father with skeletons stacked behind his perfect smile. But this was different. This was cruelty woven into the marrow of his bones. She thought maybe Jungkook had exaggerated. Maybe there was just some strict upbringing, some typical rich family expectations. But no, this wasn't strict. This was survival. And the fact that he was sitting here in front of her, casual in his tone, almost detached, it made it worse. Her lips parted. But no words came. She could only stare. He noticed, of course. His mouth twisted. Don't look at me like that, Petal. Huh? Like I'm some broken child you're about to cradle. That's not… She swallowed hard. That's not what I was thinking. I can see it written all over your face. The one that says, poor boy, look what they did to you. His jaw clenched once before he added, don't give me that. I don't need it. Her chest squeezed painfully. He was playing it cool, brushing dust over, wounds that clearly bled, trying to act untouchable. I'm not pitying you, she whispered, her voice more urgent than she expected. His gaze snapped back to hers. She held it, steady this time. I'm not… I told you because you asked, Jungkook said finally, not because I wanted your sympathy. Yoongi Young, Hoseok Hyung, they always look at me like I'm a broken child. Like I'll fall apart if they breathe wrong around me. I don't need that from you too. I wasn't looking at you like… Yes, you were. The words were soft but still cut her off clean. He turned his eyes back to her then, unreadable. Don't. Not you. Throat felt tight, but she didn't argue again. He leaned back into the couch, tone shifting like it was nothing. Is there anything else you want to ask? She blinked at him. What? You said you wanted to know me. Come on. Ask me something else, double quotes. She just stared at him, lost for words. How could he sit there and treat all that he just said like it was casual? Like he'd just told her the weather? It almost hurt more than his story itself, the way he played it, brushed his scars off like they were dust. Finally, she shook her head. No, I don't want to. Not now, double quotes. No, he echoed it back like it surprised him. That's strange. You dig until there's nothing left of me, double quotes. Her chest pinched, but she forced her voice steady. Not like this. Something flickered in his eyes before he shrugged. Okay, fine. He pushed himself upright, brushing his palms over his knees as if wiping off the subject itself. So what are we doing now? Watching a movie? She blinked at him, caught off guard by the sudden switch. What's wrong with you? His face changed like she'd caught him red-handed. What did I do now, Petal? To offend you this time? She stared at him, words tangling in her throat. Nothing, just… You're acting like all those things shouldn't hurt, double quotes. Her for a beat, then exhaled slowly. It did. At one point it did now. Now I think I'm just trying to leave it all behind. Move on. Her chest tightened painfully.
He said it so casually, but his eyes betrayed him.
There was a hollow ache there, like a wound that never closed. He leaned back suddenly, breaking the intensity with the most unexpected words. So, are we watching something? He asked again. She blinked at him. The absurdity of the question almost made her laugh, but the lump in her throat was too stubborn.
You're serious? Deadly. He tipped his head toward the TV. After all those sentimental story.
I think we should watch something funny. Her mouth pressed shut. If he didn't want to talk about it anymore, she wouldn't push. He had already given her more than anyone else probably ever heard. That alone was enough. She shook her head slowly, a small sigh slipping out. If you don't want to, it's fine. Her eyes stayed on him. He was too nonchalant for someone who had just unraveled himself piece by piece, then tied it all back together like nothing had happened. Fine, she murmured, pulling her laptop off her lap and setting it on the table. But only because I could use a break. He hummed, the sound low, satisfied. That's all the permission I need. He reached for the remote. But the faintest smile remains at his lips, and she caught it. And for the first time since he stepped into her apartment tonight, she realized despite the danger, despite the shadows wrapped around him, how dangerously easy it was to want this side of him.